Hello, my friend. Take a slow breath with me for a second. Close your eyes and picture this, a quiet English countryside room, early 1800s, where a woman sits alone at a small wooden table, pen flying across cheap paper. She hears footsteps. In one smooth motion she covers her work, smiles innocently as someone passes, then returns to her secret world the moment she's alone again. What if I told you that those hidden pages would one day touch millions of hearts across centuries, shaping how the entire world thinks about love, pride, and the quiet courage it takes to stay true to yourself? Stay with me, because this is the remarkable story of a woman who never sought the spotlight, never married, and never saw her name on a book during her lifetime, yet she created some of the most beloved stories ever written. Her name was Jane Austen. Imagine growing up in a bustling country parsonage in the small village of Steventon, Hampshire, around the late 1700s. The house was lively, filled with 6 brothers and 1 older sister. Money was always tight, but books were everywhere, hundreds of them lining the shelves. Jane's father, a kind and scholarly clergyman, encouraged all his children to read freely. Her mother brought sharp wit and warmth to the family circle. From a very young age, Jane devoured novels, poetry, and plays. But she didn't just read them, she saw straight through the dramatic exaggerations and unrealistic plots that were fashionable at the time. By the time she was 12, something beautiful and bold was already stirring inside her. She began writing her own tales, funny, sharp, and full of playful mockery. She created little plays and stories for her family, and in the evenings they would gather to read them aloud, laughing until tears rolled down their cheeks. Even as a child, Jane had a rare gift. She could look at the world around her and gently reveal its absurdities. Her closest friend and constant companion was her sister Cassandra. The two shared everything: bedroom, secrets, dreams, and long, witty letters whenever they were apart. They observed the people around them with kind but honest eyes, the dances, the social visits, the small dramas of village life. For Jane, these everyday moments were rich with meaning. As she grew into a young woman, Jane lived the typical life expected of someone in her position. She played the piano, sewed, walked the green lanes, and attended local balls. But beneath the pleasant routines lay a deeper reality that weighed on every young woman of her time. A woman's future hinged almost entirely on marriage. Without it, she had few options: no property of her own, no independent career, and a lifetime of depending on family for security. Love was wonderful, but survival mattered more. Jane saw this truth clearly, and it would later fuel her writing in ways no one else had done before. Then, one December evening in 1795, something special happened. At a neighborhood dance, Jane met a young Irishman named Tom Lefroy. He was clever, charming, and quick-witted, just the kind of person who could keep up with her. They danced, talked, and laughed together for weeks during his visit. For a brief, sparkling time, Jane's heart opened. Letters to Cassandra carried playful hints of excitement, though she tried to downplay it. But reality soon intruded. Tom had no fortune of his own. His future depended on a wealthy relative who would not approve of a match with a clergyman's daughter of modest means. Just as quickly as their connection bloomed, it was quietly ended. Tom was sent away, and they never met again. Years later, as an elderly and successful man, he would softly admit he had once cared for her, calling it merely a boy's love. For Jane, though, that short season left a lasting mark, the sweet ache of possibility cut short by circumstances beyond her control. She faced other choices too. A respectable proposal came from a man of means, and for one night she accepted. But by morning, her heart knew better. She chose honesty over security, turning down a comfortable but loveless future. That decision meant she would walk a harder path, one without the social safety net most women relied on. Yet it also freed her to pour her deepest observations into her writing. In her early 20s, Jane began crafting full novels. She revised them carefully over years. One early story evolved into Sense and Sensibility. Another, first called First Impressions, would become the beloved Pride and Prejudice. Getting them into the world was no simple task. Her father once sent a manuscript to a London publisher, only to have it returned unread. Rejection could have stopped her cold, but Jane kept going. She wrote, revised, and believed in her quiet way. Then, in 1811, at age 35, Sense and Sensibility finally reached readers. The title page said only "by a lady." Jane chose to remain hidden. In her era, a woman publishing fiction risked being judged improper. So she let the stories stand on their own. The book found a warm audience. Modest earnings arrived, her very first money that truly belonged to her. 2 years later, Pride and Prejudice arrived and captured hearts instantly. Readers couldn't stop talking about Elizabeth Bennet's spirit and Mr. Darcy's transformation. Even royalty kept copies in their homes. Jane published 4 novels in her lifetime, always anonymously. She had a gift for making ordinary moments feel profound. A conversation in a drawing room could hold as much tension as any grand adventure. With a single line of dialogue or a perfectly balanced sentence, she revealed pride, misunderstanding, kindness, and growth. She showed that a woman's inner world, her choices, her feelings, her quiet strength, was worthy of great literature. Life wasn't always easy. Jane continued writing even as her health began to fade in 1816. She worked on Persuasion, a tender story of second chances, as if sensing time was precious. Her handwriting, once so neat and small to save paper, grew shaky. She started one final story but had to set it aside. In the summer of 1817, at just 41, Jane passed away peacefully in her sister's arms in Winchester. Her family mourned deeply. Cassandra called her the sunshine of her life. At her burial in Winchester Cathedral, the inscription spoke only of her character and faith, no mention of the novels that would one day be treasured worldwide. For a time after her death, she was seen as a pleasant but minor writer. Then something wonderful happened. Readers and scholars slowly recognized the depth and brilliance of her work. Her brother helped publish the remaining books and revealed her name. Today, Jane Austen's stories live on in every major language. Pride and Prejudice has been adapted again and again. Her former home welcomes visitors from around the globe. Her image even appeared on British currency. Millions of readers, often called Janeites, find comfort, laughter, and wisdom in her pages. And here's the beautiful, quiet truth at the heart of it all: the woman who understood love, pride, and personal growth so profoundly never married or experienced the happy endings she wrote with such warmth. She chose her own path, wrote in secret when necessary, and created beauty from the limitations she faced. My friend, Jane's life reminds us that real impact doesn't always arrive with fanfare or perfect circumstances. Sometimes it grows in small rooms, through steady effort, and despite setbacks. She showed incredible discipline, revising, persisting, and staying true to her voice even when the world offered little encouragement. You and I, right now, are part of something she would recognize. Whether you're learning a new language, chasing a dream, or simply trying to express what's in your heart, there will be days when progress feels hidden or slow. There will be creaky doors, distractions, and interruptions. But like Jane lifting that blotting paper and continuing her work, you can keep going. Her beloved Elizabeth Bennet declared she was resolved to act in the way that would bring her own happiness. Jane lived that spirit. So can you. Keep showing up. Keep creating. Keep learning. Your story matters, even if no one sees the early drafts. What touched you most about Jane's journey? The protective creak of that door? The sparkle of that one winter dance? Or the quiet strength of a woman who changed literature from the shadows? Drop a comment below. I truly love hearing your thoughts. There are so many more inspiring stories waiting here. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, and never stop reaching for your own happy ending.